Alright, so I meant to do this a while ago, I just didn't get to it. I've been doing a few things recently. So, Alex keeps promoting the lie, and this is true, look it up. The lie that the Germans set fire to their own parliament building and in consequence blamed it on the communists. Now that part is true. They blamed it on all communists, and even though the suspect was an actual communist, they did use it to push their agenda, which you can argue all day if it was a communist plot. You can argue all day that it wasn't. There's really no proof that it was or wasn't. So that's not the main issue here. The issue here is that Alex is spreading communist propaganda that's been around since the 40s, that the Germans did this to themselves. Well, it's actually been around since the 30s. That the Germans set their own building on fire, that this guy was just a patsy. No, he wasn't a patsy, he did it himself, and everybody out there believes this. There's only a few, and it's funny because if you look it up, I'm going to look this up for you guys and show you, almost all of the quote-unquote mainstream historians, or like I like to call them History Channel historians, agree that he did set the fire to the Reichstag. And even alternative historians and people who investigate the mainstream narrative all come to the conclusion that he did set the Reichstag on fire. So why is Alex experiencing severe cognitive dissonance when it comes to this? So let's listen.
I want to go to him. We'll see what happens. Rick, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good, go ahead.
Who blew up the Reichstag?
I thought you were talking about hack DNC and the Russians. Who blew up the Reichstag? The Nazis. Most evidence shows burned up their Capitol building in February 22, basically declare civil emergency, start arresting their political opposition, and make Hitler a dictator.
So it proves that they never do anything for a one-of. So who hacked the DNC?
So what was Alex's contention there? His contention was that the Germans burnt it down themselves, and they used it to get rid of civil liberties. So let's find out, did the Germans burn it down themselves, or is that just some crazy, out of whack thing? Let's see. Alright, first I'm actually going to go to Wikipedia, or Wikipedia, Wicca, whatever you want to call them. Jewish-controlled Wikipedia. Alright, the Reichstag fire was an arson attack on the Reichstag in Berlin, on the 27th of February, 1933. Marinus van der Lubbe, a Dutch council communist, was caught at the scene of the fire and arrested for the crime. Now, this isn't important, this is just a summary of what it is. But if you want to go down to where it says dispute, you guys need to investigate this because it's quite important. Literally, almost everybody says that it was van der Lubbe. Almost everybody. Literally, look at this. Almost everybody says that it was. The only person who says that it wasn't was a guy named Hans Geisvius. I don't know who he is, but he was a member of anti-Hitler resistance within the German government and former member of the Gestapo, Abwehr, and Foreign Ministry. Indicated his supposition that the Germans were the arsonists, or National Socialists were the arsons. Literally, he is the only person that they can quote and saying that the Germans did it. And he happens to be a communist and anti-Hitler, basically intellectual, whatever you want to call him. Because he was pretty smart if he had to work in the Gestapo or the Abwehr. But, so that's the only person that they can seem to use. And it's funny because if you look at everybody else, there was even a guy who worked for Der Spiegel that actually said that van der Lubbe did act alone right here. And let's see who else. Stefan Delmer, I don't know who he is. I mean, I probably should. But he also said that he also viewed van der Lubbe as being solely responsible. Look. And then Kershaw freaking Wikipedia. Whoever Kershaw is also said that he acted alone. Oh, Ian Kershaw, sorry. Ian Kershaw said that he acted alone. And then look at this. The consensus of nearly all historians is that van der Lubbe did set the Reichstag on fire. So, why Alex is spreading communist propaganda? I don't know. I really don't know. I can't tell you why. But I can tell you that another article right here, which I'm going to have you guys hopefully read, which also proves that van der Lubbe was the one suspect, and that the Germans actually tried 2 different people besides van der Lubbe in a court of law, and they found those 2 to be not guilty. So, and those 2 were also communists. So, if it was just a main, huge, basically pogrom against all communists, then they would have convinced the court to basically have those 2 people be guilty as well and have it be a massive, giant conspiracy. Actually, what happened was the courts were quite impartial, and they were actually correct in the fact that he did set it on fire himself. Now, like I said in the beginning, you can argue back and forth. This article really argues back and forth about if it was a communist conspiracy or not. I don't know. I mean, it could be, it couldn't be. It's pretty coincidental that weeks leading up to this, there was a lot of violence between the National Socialists and the communists in the streets of Germany, but you can't really prove either or. So I'm not going to sit here and go out on a limb. But, like I said, Alex Jones is yet again a liar. And why he's spreading this communist propaganda, like I said before, I have no idea. But I just wanted to show you guys this, so finally, once and for all, this legend can die. Hopefully. Obviously, it's not going to be like the Holocaust, where we're going to have a bunch of really founded, accredited people come together and openly debate the topic. This one is basically closed by every real historian nowadays. The only people that doubt it are people who read communists, anti-Hitler people who basically wrote in the day a bunch of propaganda lies. So, I just want to share this with you.